Okay, let's pretend that you are Chris Huffman and that you are a salesperson and you're about to go out and take a look at your territory. And for the next couple of weeks, you're going to be traveling all around your territory. And your PDA is not working as well as you would like. And so you want to have some backup information of quick phone list information. And we've got a database that contains over 100 contacts. And so what we want to do is get all of that information into a nice, concise phone list report. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the power of ACT to create a very quick phone list. Now, if you'll notice, right now my lookup says 1 of 1. Well, does that mean that we're on that fictitious database that we created? No, as you can see, we're back on the ACT8 demo database. But the reason it says 1 of 1 is because of the lookup that I've selected. What we're going to do now is change that lookup. So I'm going to click on Lookup and then go to All Contacts. Now, if I just wanted to focus on a certain area of my database, I could do that as well. If I just wanted to prospect in New York, I could do a lookup for New York first. So that we get a larger list, we're just going to do a lookup of our entire database for our phone list and see what we get from that. So we've got our lookup, and the lookup is all contacts. And now what we're going to do is go into the menu, and we're going to select Reports, and then we're going to select Phone List. And ACT will say, okay, well, I'll create you a phone list, but where do you want me to send it to? Where do you want me to put the output? And by default, it'll say preview, which is usually a good idea. Even if you're going to print it out, you might want to take a look at what you're going to print before you waste a lot of paper. But we can also send it to other places. If you click on the drop down, you'll notice you can send it to a rich text file if you want to use it for something else. You can send it to an HTML file, which is suitable for putting onto a web page, a PDF file if you have Adobe Acrobat, a text file. You can send it to the printer, or you could even send it to email. Right now what we're going to do is just send it to preview, but it's good to know that you can send it to all those other places as well. Then we're going to create a report for it, and notice that it defaults to current lookup. Now, since we're creating a report for the current lookup, and since we anticipated that going in, we can just leave the default setting. If we hadn't, if we'd had a different lookup, then we could quickly just change it to all contacts because that's what we wanted. In other words, we did the lookup of all contacts, but if we hadn't done the lookup of all contacts, then we would just go ahead and select all contacts right now. So since we said we wanted the all contacts and that is the current lookup, we're going to go ahead and continue. Now we could exclude the My Record field, and that's done by default as well because Chris knows what his telephone number is and he's not likely to be calling himself. Notice then that as far as the user, use data managed by, right now we've got all users, which would include Bill Ferguson and Chris Huffman. But if we wanted to, we could just say just the selected users and just select Chris Huffman. This only applies if you have multiple users on a database, which we'll talk about later on, how to define those users on the database. So now we're going to click on OK, and ACT is going to quickly generate a phone list report. You might be saying, well, that's a great phone list, except I can't read it. Well, if you position your mouse pointer up at the top, right at the end of the navigation keys or navigation tools, you'll notice that there is a tooltip that says actual size. If we click there, then we've got a much larger phone list that we can read. So we can take a look and make sure that that is the phone list that we want. We can go page by page through it if we want by using the next page or previous page icons, and make sure that it is the information that we want, and then quickly print that information out. And you say, okay, well that's great, except for I really need to have some address information, or I need to have some more information than that. Alright, well then let's close this out, and then what we're going to do is go back up to Reports, click on Reports, and then click on Contact Directory. Notice that it defaults to all contacts. That's because we didn't do a lookup just prior to that. So it says, okay, well, we'll start off with all contacts. And if you want to do another lookup, then you could do a lookup and then go to current contacts or current lookup. But what I want is all contacts. And again, I'm going to do it for a selected user for Chris Huffman, and I'm going to send it to preview. So I'm going to click on OK. So ACT then generates the report. Now, notice that there are many pages in this report. It's working on it, and it's got many pages. It's got contacts information for everybody. Now, everybody does not have their own page. In fact, let's go up and click on the actual size view, and you'll see that we have more detailed contact information. If I scroll down, you can see then that I do have for my contacts, I have the company, the contact information, the phone information, the address information, and it depends on what we have in the database as to how much information we're going to have for each one of these. But it's getting me the contact directory information, and it's just as simple as that. For all of the reports that are available, all of the reports that are available in ACT, it's just as simple to create those reports. You just simply select the type of report that you want for the contacts that you want, and then decide where you want to output that report to. Just as simple as that. So we're going to take a look next at how we can actually filter more information. If what we wanted to do was not create such a simple report, but instead filter the information for where we're going to get this information. In other words, we're going to get it from notes and histories, we're going to get it from just the contact database. We're going to take a look at a more detailed report next.